Hey guys, that Welsh Nerd here, and today we're going to be looking at the brand new Imperial Knight Codex that came out over the weekend. This is just going to be a initial review. It's a first impressions, more or less. I've literally just off camera taken the plastic wrap off, and we're going to have a look in the Codex really quickly, a really brief look at anything that jumps out and the contents. Now, initially, the first thing that jumps out, this is not a particularly thick book at all. It's about as thick as the Custodes book, just to give you an idea. The artwork is the same as last edition. This was something that confused me when I went to pick it up. Actually, I thought this was the same book, and then they told me if it's got a border around the edge, it's the new edition, and when I looked... so yeah, they seem to be right on that one. Anyway, so, new Imperial Knight Codex with the Warden cover art. On the back of the book, we just get a nice full display of a Knight lance with a Dominus class Knight, the Obsidian Knight Freeblade, a handful of Quaestorus Knights, and then some armigers. Warglaves, and its honour and glory, so it gives you a little bit about the Imperial Knights and what you'll find inside the book. We have that muted artwork that seems to be at the front of everyone, and then we've got like a little motto, Honour for Fealty. So the contents, the index page, if you will, it takes us up to 128 pages with an introduction, history all the way through here, the nightly host, which is probably going to be, it's the army list, containing everything from Armiger Helverins to the Sacristan Forge Shrine. Little introduction, again, as we're getting used to, and then some really nice artwork with a Valiant impaling a Keeper of Secrets, and not in the way the Keeper of Secrets would like, with its thunder cannon, with its thunder harpoon, and it is just an awesome artwork. We've got, this is what it is to be an Imperial Knight here, just waving through Sineshi demons, whatever, against, and just laying down indomitable firepower. So we've got the Legacy of Honour. It's just going to be your history going through, the Omnisci's Boon, the difference between Quaestor Imperialis and Quaestor Mechanicus, the Knights of War, the different structures between the two. Heraldry. This is quite a nice little look. It basically tells you how each knight should be painted with stripes. So it's like, it's got the stripe around the centre of the carapace, it's the High Monarch. If it has stripes flanking the centre of the carapace, it's a Baron, and then if it's just solid colour, it's a regular knight, as well as the different classes of Baron on the Ion Shield or the Tilting Plate, and then just how it's put into effect here, as well as colour coding what you need. Then we're having a little breakdown of each house, House Terran being the biggest, of course, because they're in Ultramarines colours. Then we get a page on House Cadmus, Griffith, Hawkshroud, Morton, and then it comes to the Mechanicus, and again it breaks down how it all works, but they're slightly different just because they align with the Mechanicus, like they've got different logos, the paint style still applies, and so on. Has Raven, which is the biggest Mechanicus house, so again this gets the most pages, just like Tyrannus did. House Vulca, another Mechanicus house, House Tarnus, and then House Crast. And then we've got a little bit on Freeblades. Nice to see they've got some Dominus Freeblades as well. Oh, and an Armiger Freeblade. Didn't expect that, and that's quite cool. As well as just giving you a little bit of history of each one. And then we've got a little timeline, just like in every other Codex for 8th edition so far, that's going to take us up to where you knew before, and then into the new. This is an older bit of artwork, if you can call older bit, if you can all call Imperial Knights old anyway. Just of the Damnos campaign, I think it is, where the Obsidian Knight and House Tyrion and White Scars and all that guys fought the Tau. Breakdown of each different types of knight, and so on. Knight Warden, Knight Gallant, Knight Crusaders, Knights Preceptor, I think they're the new one. Basically, if I'm guessing correctly, the Knights Preceptor is going to be the generic version of whatever Canis Rex is. And then we get the Knight Castell and the Knight Valiant, breaking down what each one is. Nice little painted gallery with different houses, etc. Basically, it's what you expect from a Games Workshop Codex at this point. Obviously, it looks like you can't do the standard patrol build into an army like they do here. So they're just showing you 3 different knights, or 3 different classes, and then a full force. And then we're on to the list, the rules, so I don't want to linger too much on you, because I'll get told off. If there's anything that does jump out though, like if we see the Knight Preceptor, was it? We've passed it, haven't we? Yeah, it's the Knight Preceptor. It's armed with Last Impulse. I can take a multi-laser, that's quite interesting. Oh, and it's got rules for improving armature units. Quite nice. Yeah, quite a nice little addition. And if I'm reading that correct, yes, the multi-laser, Last Impulse. So basically, Canis Rex is going to be a Freeblade version of the Knight Preceptor, lacking the Mentor rule because he's a Freeblade, obviously, but instead gaining the ability to pop the pilot to pop out. If you've been reading the Warhammer community pages, that won't really be a surprise. Knight Valiant, and then we got the Sacristan Forge Shrine, which lets you repair or reload or refuel your knights. Quite nice. Knightly armaments, so their weapons. Different knight houses, how Freeblades work, how lances work. The Quaestor Imperialis and Quaestor Mechanicus, basically everything we've seen in the Codex so far. Different stratagems, there's a lot of stratagems to them. Warlord traits, there's the trait for each house, a generic traits. Apparently there's a lot of heirlooms. 4 full pages, technically, if you count that. So that is a lot of relics. And then we've got how you make your Freeblades and the point values. And then at the back we have the tactical objectives. So basically, going lightning fast through this, because I'm aiming to do like a full breakdown with this towards the end of next week, where basically we'll have a look more in depth into the Codex after I've had a good read, my thoughts on it, etc. But yeah, off the initial pass, this looks like a really good book, no complaints. Everything in it seems fine. Good solid. It's basically everything we've come to expect from 8th edition so far, with stratagems, heirlooms, relics, whatever you want to call them, the different data sheets, a new unit added, always nice, and yeah, so basically no complaints from me. This is completely happy. It's exactly what I want to expect from an Imperial Knight Codex. Hopefully reading it will make taking an Imperial Knight force worth it, so not so much. Especially if there's point deductions like they said there would be, being able to actually take what seems like a force of Imperial Knights rather than just 1 or 2 strays that wandered off. But anyway, that's for another time. I hope you've enjoyed this first impressions look at this book. If you did, please leave a like and comment down below what you liked about it. Comment your thoughts even, and subscribe to be notified of when more content comes out. I'm going to be showing off the Valiant in a couple of days. It should be built by then. I hope future me has got onto that. And yeah, so subscribe to be notified of that. But until then, this has been That Welsh Nerd, and I will see you in the next one.